Welcome back to moving to Fort Bend County. If you're moving to the Houston area, chances are you've heard of Sugar Land. It consistently ranks as one of the best places to live in Texas. But is it actually worth the hype? Today, I'm talking you through everything you need to know. From neighborhoods and schools to restaurants, traffic, and a few things that might surprise you about the city of Sugar Land. I'm Ashton St. Jean, your Greater Houston Realtor, but most people just call me the mayor of Fort Bend because when most people think Fort Bend County, they think the mayor. I'm not just here to tell you about Fort Bend County and the different parts in the county. I'm here to tell you on the lifestyle, and the lifestyle is what separates Fort Bend County. Let's talk about where Sugar Land is. Sugar Land is about 20 miles southwest of downtown Houston. I want to say it's about a 30-minute drive if you want to get completely downtown from the heart of Sugar Land. It has Highway 59 runs from downtown and it goes through directly the middle of Sugar Land. So it's super easy access to get on any of the major freeways. Highway 99, the third loop around Houston, goes through Sugar Land as well. You have Highway 90, plenty of access to highways and freeways. Sugar Land is very, very popular with commuters that go work in Houston, but they want to live out in the lifestyle of Sugar Land, a little bit slower paced, a little bit more spread out than living in the big city. And then it's also close to all the medical centers, the employment hubs, close within an hour to both airports. Sugar Land honestly has its own medical center right in the heart of it. It's got plenty of hospitals, and then it's about 30 minutes to the Texas Medical Center, which is in Houston. And so you're close enough to where you can get all the aspects of the city, but you're not necessarily living in the city. And like I said, Sugar Land's big enough. Sugar Land is, I want to say it's either the first or the second biggest suburb around Houston, and it's going to have everything you really need as from a residential standpoint. Now, why you might think Sugar Land? That's a unique name for a town. Every time I'm wearing a name badge that says I'm from Sugar Land, or if I tell people I work in Sugar Land, they're like, Sugar Land? Oh, that's so cool. Well, the history behind Sugar Land is, if you're familiar with the company Imperial Sugar actually started in Sugar Land. So Sugar Land was a company town for Imperial Sugar. That's how it originally started. I can go drive by and go look at the original headquarters for Imperial Sugar, where they made all their sugar in the offices and they had all their own homes for it that were built by the company. They had their own money, they had their own stores, they had their own everything. If you came to Sugar Land, you were working with or for the people of Imperial Sugar. And it was just a really neat town. And it's always been rich for sugar plantations. You have lots of water, lots of rivers that go through the Oyster Creek, has been known for great soil to produce sugar. Now, this company town just over time grew and grew, especially as Houston started growing more and more outwards, because like I said, we're only about 20 miles from downtown. So Houston continues to sprawl out even to this day. It has now hit there, and Sugar Land just became, it was already nice, and now it's just growing all around from this company town. Now the Imperial Sugar, it's not here anymore. You can still see the old building. It's really neat. I highly recommend. If you're not moving out here, I think it's a cool little day trip to at least go see it. I'd like to know the history of things like that. Now, what made Sugar Land really blow up is the lifestyle. The lifestyle of Sugar Land is unmatched. You have the Sugar Land Town Square. The Town Square was an original development, actually in First Colony, and it is a gorgeous place. It has all the restaurants you want. It's got a good community center right in the middle. You have concerts. FIFA just had an event out here in Sugar Land for the World Cup, and we hosted that right there. The city of Sugar Land wanted people to come out here. You have all different walks of life, super diverse, tons of golf courses, tons of green space, master plan community central. It really is. You have every different type of restaurant that you could want, because like I said, we're in Fort Bend County. You're in the most diverse county in the world. So you're gonna have that. And Sugar Land is the heart and soul of Fort Bend County. Walking trails, you have parks, plenty of coffee shops, the community events. That's just an idea of what we do out here in Sugar Land. And one thing I really like about Sugar Land is that it doesn't feel like a suburb where you sleep. There's actually something to do every single weekend. You're never sitting here bored. Some suburbs can be really sleepy, and there is some of those suburbs out here in Fort Bend County. So if Sugar Land is not your choice, but if you're a younger family, if you're used to having lots of events from living in the city and you want to come move out here in the suburb, I think that's a great option for a place to live. Now, what really makes Sugar Land is not just the lifestyle, but it's the neighborhoods that make the city, that make the lifestyle. My favorite neighborhoods in Sugar Land city limits is going to be Riverstone. Riverstone's a great master plan community by Johnson Development, and they have all the luxury homes and all the amenities you could want. Really sought after community, very gorgeous, very well kept. You have some of these older neighborhoods that really kind of made Sugar Land. You have Greatwood. Greatwood is mature trees. It is a really nice golf course, established community, probably the most sought after community, I would say, in Sugar Land. Listings do not sit long in Greatwood. I lived there as a child. It is a community, it was a neighborhood that built in the early 90s, and it struggled to originally first get started. But after all this growth out here, it is now a place that most people, when they move there, they don't want to leave. Another established neighborhood that's been around for about the same amount of time is New Territory. Now, New Territory is another established neighborhood, convenient access to both 59 and Highway 99. They run both adjacent to New Territory. You're not going to have quite as much sought after as you do with Greatwood, but it's still a very popular area. I remember back in the 90s, Charles Barkley actually lived out there. If you want to see, I got him on my wall. Right there, I like me. Right there, I like me some Chuck, and so that's where I was thinking. And then another super sought after community is Telfair. Now I can remember being a kid here and watching Telfair being built, because like I said, this was at the time when my family was living in Greatwood, and so in between Greatwood and the city of Sugar Land, this is before Greatwood was annexed into Sugar Land, and there was just a bunch of green space, and it was actually where the old jail was for Sugar Land, was actually in Telfair. And now the Museum of Natural Science Sugar Land one, for the Houston Museum of Natural Science Sugar Land, it's actually located in the middle of Telfair, and that's the old jail that they used to, and the people in jail, they would work the fields out here. And so it was just all this green space. Now, I never saw this. It wasn't a working jail when I was alive, but you could see it was just all green space, nothing had developed. And now Telfair has blown up, and it is extremely sought after. Adjacent to Riverstone, has university, goes right through the middle of it, and every amenity, every park, major roads, everything you would need. Like I said, some of these neighborhoods, they're going to be micro pockets. So if your market is doing bad elsewhere, it could be doing better in some of these in Greatwood or in Telfair. It's going to be a different market because these master plan communities, one, they're so big, and two, they have a different way of life that people have been waiting to get in these, and they're just, I don't know, it's different. There's some things to consider when moving to Sugar Land. Sugar Land can have traffic during peak hours. I'm used to having some traffic over the Brazos Bridge when you're going out south of the Brazos to closer to Richmond, or to the edge of Sugar Land, then start getting closer to Richmond, Rosenberg, and all of that. Highway 6, of course, especially when it's going through Sugar Land, it's going to have stoplights every 20 feet, it seems like. So the traffic can build up. Now, home prices are going to be higher in some of these sought-after neighborhoods, like I've told you, because it's not going to follow what the market is. You follow the market of what's in that micro-community in that neighborhood, and you may have a difference. And so some are going to be way higher, and then you can still find a good price out here. HOA fees is another one in these nice master plan communities. For them to stay nice, you're going to have the higher HOA. That has its pros and cons to it, but they do keep them looking good, and they do keep these neighborhoods extremely sought after. And then your other challenge could be is the extreme growth in the region. That's not Sugar Land. Sugar Land is pretty much maxed out and landlocked now, but the growth in the region, 5-10 minutes away, it's unmatched in anywhere else in the country. Fort Bend County is booming on every level, residential, business-wise, everything. So that could be a downside if you're coming out here. Now, I do not think it's that much of a con, but it is something to think about. Sugar Land has earned its reputation. It's a city with history, strong community amenities, diverse dining, and neighborhoods that appeal to a wide range of buyers. Every neighborhood is different, and it can fit any different type of culture, any different type of age group, anything. Is it the right fit for everyone? It might not be, but I do think you can find something in Sugar Land or in the vicinity of Sugar Land that can find what you're looking for. Like I said, for most people, it's exactly what they are looking for. Tomorrow, we're heading to Richmond, the oldest city in Fort Bend County. We'll explore its history, hidden gems, and why more people are discovering it is a place to call home.